In today's video, I'm going to be knocking out one modification or feature addition, whatever you want to call it, on the Tacoma truck camper. It's one of the things that I had put on my to-do list from when I had gotten back from Oklahoma at Overland of America. This is something that is going to make camping, especially on days like today, bluebird days where it's super sunny and very hot, and also very good for rainy days nonetheless. But today we're going to make an install happen. First things first, I gotta swap this out. Much better. Got the change up of the shirt. All systems go. Every great story starts with a sketchy trail. How true is that? And this is from my buddies over at ASG Off-Road, aka All Systems Go Off-Road. I love that name. So they sent me out something for the first gen Tacoma, more specifically for the V2 Pro. Let's take a look at what it is, get it installed, see how it looks. We've got a box. Let's find out what's inside the box. Paper, and in here should be, ooh, nice little sticker, and some awning poles. So these, it's like a little clip, more clips, something else I need to unbox, and the fourth awning pole. And so what these are gonna be, make sure that's everything. Instruction card. Get this all organized here. Essentially what we have here are tent poles, tent fly poles. So these are gonna go, basically when you undo the GFC tent windows, you can obviously like roll them up, otherwise they would just be flapping around. But these are designed to hold the tent windows open, so that way it actually creates an awning, good for like, you know, getting some shade from sun as well as probably light rain. It would allow that to run off, so you can still have your windows open and basically set these up to create a Rainfly. So that's what we're going to install today. There's a few different pieces here. There's 4 poles, 4 of these clips, which actually don't think I need. We'll have to find out once we get the install going. But these clips are designed for tents that don't come ready for the awning poles. I think the GFC V2 Pro has the little eyelids that we need to be able to install these. So I think we're good there. And then inside of here, we've got our GFC specific mounting hardware. And we've also got some very, very nicely made CNC blocks. So these are going to attach to the outside of the GFC, and that's what's going to hold basically these guys here. Should be pretty cool. Let's go ahead and figure out how to get this installed and get it underway. All right, so real quick, let me show you the problem we're trying to solve here. Now, obviously, the GFC V2 Pro, this is how it comes. You got your window here that can fold down, and it uses some carabiners to basically hold itself up, so that way you can basically just keep the bug nets open and happy days. Almost happy days, unless it's really, really sunny or possibly sprinkling. So then you would get, because it's at a bit of an angle, so the water will drip or the sun will still get in. Long story short, if you take the panels down, you don't really have an option to be able to extend them out like an awning. So they're either up or they're down. Now what the awning poles are going to do is push this out like this and hold it out, so that way it creates a bit of shade here, as well as a little bit of rain cover. Now, if it's downpouring, I don't think it's gonna work super well. But if you're just getting some light rain, or like I said, in the sun, it's gonna be great, because then it adds this whole extra piece of fabric here that acts as a sunshade. So gear, basically why I like this is because when I was out at Overland of America, I'd have all this open so that way people could see the rig and all of its glory and whatnot. But because I had my mattresses moved over so you could stand up in here, all my gear, including my fridge and my power stations at the bottom, were just getting rocked and heated up by the sun. So having some shade by these is gonna be great. And I didn't already mention it, it actually works for all 3 windows. So if your GFC has the side windows here, it comes with a pole for that. So let's go ahead and figure out how to get this installed. See how it goes. So we'll go ahead and start on this window, and I'll just kind of showcase how this is gonna work, because on this side, you only use 1 rod. Because this window, God, these little white fly thingies are out and about this here time of year. Anyways, you obviously, this window doesn't unzip fully, so it can't go like this, but it can still get popped out like this. So you're only gonna use 1 rod that's gonna go there. And this is what I was talking about. We're not gonna probably need those tent clips that are what the pole goes through, because the GFC V2 Pro comes with this. And I believe that is exactly what this is for. So this should go kind of like that and hold this out here like so. So really, the install should be quite simple. You've got these blocks, and you want to make sure you've got the blocks with 2 little screw holes here. And then depending on which way you put the rod, which way you face the block is gonna dictate which way the rod goes. So because we want the tent being pulled out this way, we should, I believe, want the rod going this way versus going back like this. Although, this might be a trial and error. I'll have to double check the instructions. He did supply instructions and I just didn't read them. All right, we're just gonna roll with it and see how it works. I'm gonna not use Loctite on these just yet because I want to kind of just see how it's gonna go before I gotta jump down and grab that. All right, so I'm gonna guess you'd want the pole going that way. So I'm gonna face it that way first, kind of just see how this works. And I'm gonna grab this guy here. Just kind of get this tightened down just a little bit, doesn't need to be crazy. And we're gonna grab our pole here, slide it in, just like so. And now, if we take this guy, oh, that's a heck of a lot of bend. Maybe I'm just being a wimp. There we go. Boom. Yes, that's definitely how that's supposed to go. And there you are. And then you can kind of like snug up the zipper up top here to create this nice little bit of shade. There you have it. Pretty easy. So these windows are going to be even easier because there's only 1 block that you have to install. And this back window here is going to be 2 blocks, 1 on each side with a pole. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of them just kind of mocked up like I have here. And then I'll go back, remove a screw, put Loctite on, remove the other screw, put Loctite on, and get this thing all cinched down. Got this first one all set and ready to go. We've got the rod pointing towards the back of the vehicle, and probably easier to do when you're kind of kicked out like this. But now we can grab the pole, grab our window cover, attach it like so. And like I said, you can kind of play with the zipper to get it a little more taut or not, depending on how you want it. And then of course you can still zip up your bug fly or bug net, bug window, bug screen, whatever you want to call it. Obviously your leg that I'm putting through, but just for the purpose of showing you guys, that is how that would work. And then on this, we can still throw it up here on the little carabiner and get our bug net out of the way. So that way, if you want to just have like a big shaded open area up top, no bug windows, you can do that. So that's window number one. Super easy install, literally just 2 bolts per side. Oh my gosh, it's like an infestation of these little white fly things. That is crazy looking. Okay, I might put the bug net down for that scenario. Okay, now for the 2 back ones, what the instructions say to do is, like I'd mentioned before, depending on which way you have this block, it's gonna push the rod either this way or this way. For the driver's side, you want it pushing out towards the driver's side, and then vice versa for the passenger, so it'd be pointing out that way. So rod going this way, rod going that way. So just orientate your CNC block in whichever fashion makes sense for that. I've also found it a bit easier to pre-install the little T-nuts in their upright position. I feel like that has been helping to get it, keep them upright, because being upright is what actually locks them into the T-track. So I think the plan for here is going to be to kind of center these on the eyelids. So you can see with the V2 Pro, you've got your eyelid here, and same on the other side. And now the sun is coming out. I'm sweating, and I think I'm overexposed. Yep. And then afterwards, I just kind of double check to make sure that our T-nuts are actually upright and in their locked position. And then I'll go back with the wrench and just give it a good tighten. Don't go too nuts, because this is all CNC'd aluminum, and aluminum is soft metal, so you don't want to go nuts with it. But that should be what we need there. And then this guy is going to get put here. Then this is just gonna go in here like that. And there you go. One side is done. One more to go. We've got almost all of our awning props ready to roll. So we're just gonna set that there, get the other side all done, and see how it all looks. And now we have all 3 windows propped. We can put this thing in cabana mode, which is just opening up all of the side panels. Honestly, this is how I feel like the GFC should come from the factory. You know, they have the eyelids on the V2 Pro for these props, but the props don't come with it. So it's just kind of frustrating. But thank you to ASG Off-Road for taking the time to create these and fill a market void that wasn't filled. And also for setting them out, because I love them as much as I love this awesome t-shirt. So now I think one thing we can actually do is I think you can actually like pull these down a little bit, which will actually kind of tension the upper, there we go. Yeah, so you can kind of pull these down, if you can see what I'm doing, the zipper, which will tension these rods and kind of take up some of the slack. Otherwise, you can open it fully and you've got just a ton of shade now. And again, you can keep the bug zipper or bug window all closed up. Install is all complete, and overall the install process is super easy. I feel like where you place those blocks, the CNC aluminum blocks, you have a lot of wiggle room there, because its main job is to just pop open those windows. It doesn't have to be necessarily in a precise area. Now, I'm super like hyper focused on things being perfect, so I actually used my ratcheting wrench to determine on the front here with the two blocks how far off of the GFC locking clamps I wanted those to sit, so that way they would be pretty much symmetrical. And that's just me personally. I like things to be perfectly aligned, but honestly, there's so much wiggle room there, so you can't really mess up the install on this. One thing I will say, the toughest part is the T-nuts, the GFC T-track. Those T-nuts are kind of a pain, where you have to, like I did in the video, you have to kind of set them in and put them in the lock position and then try and screw in, because I find if you like put them on the screws like lightly tightened and then you try and put it on the T-track and tighten it, they don't always flip up, or I guess it'd be this way, flip up into that locked position. So my biggest tip would definitely be to get your T-nuts locked and then try and put the screws on with the blue Loctite. Now, one thing I would like to see from ASG as well as like GFC, you know, all these companies that utilize the T-nuts, I want everyone to remember what we're using here is aluminum T-track and aluminum CNC blocks and aluminum T-nuts. And I would love to see, again, because I'm a perfectionist, and when I'm working on my truck or my Honda or whatever, I'm always going to the shop manual for torque specs. I would love to see torque specs on some of this stuff, because I know you don't want to over tighten, because it will literally bend those T-nuts, and the little wings that lock it in place, I've seen it before, actually crack and break because they're soft aluminum. So my only tip for this would be include torque specs. I'm sure it's going to be pretty light, like probably like 10 or less foot-pounds of torque, but nonetheless, it'd be great to have it, just so that way it's like a safety measure for the company. That way, you know, someone who's installing this doesn't just go nuts torquing that down and then all of a sudden it's broken and then they have to get shipped out new ones and all that stuff. I think torque specs would be a really nice thing to offer, and I'm speaking not only to All Systems Go Off-Road, but I'm also speaking to Go Fast Camper and all sorts of different companies that utilize aluminum parts for all these pop-top pass-through campers. And one thing I do want to mention is, if you guys are interested in picking up any gear for your Go Fast Camper or Super Pacific, there's a bunch of different campers that ASG Off-Road makes parts and accessories for. Please check out their website. There's so much cool stuff on there. I've looked at every product that they offer for the Go Fast Camper, and I'm like, oh, that would be so sweet. That would be so sweet. Oh my gosh, this would be so sweet. And I actually reached back out to them because, if you guys remember, ASG Off-Road sent me out the antenna swivel mount and solved a huge problem for me when I was installing the high boost antenna, which you can't see it. It's not deployed at the moment, but it sits off the GFC. And with the factory high boost antenna hardware, the antenna would have had to be straight up all the time, 24/7. And I was searching forever for a product that would allow me to swivel that on the GFC track. And sure enough, ASG Off-Road makes it. So they were kind enough to send that out to me after I got home from Overland of America on that almost a week-long road trip out to Jay, Oklahoma and back. If you guys missed any of those videos, be sure to go back and check them out. That was one of my biggest complaints, and one of the DIY projects I wanted to take on was building tent rods to be able to hold these flaps open and kind of solve that issue. And when I started like looking for 3D printed blocks and all sorts of stuff, I'm like, this is going to be a lot harder to create DIY than I had initially planned. So realized ASG Off-Road makes these, hit them up and like, hey, here's my problem. You guys have a solution. I'd love to work together. And once again, they came through on just a phenomenal product. The build quality is just second to none. And I want to say, honestly, I feel like it's better than what GFC creates. Like, the build quality on their parts is just so good. And I got to give a huge shout out to those guys. And if you missed it, I don't know if I showed you the back of the shirt, go hit up ASG Off-Road, go check out their website. Like I said, whether you have a GFC, Super Pacific, or other pass-through campers, they probably have products for you. And they're just a super cool company that's fulfilling voids in the marketplace. So with that being said, stoked to have these on there. I'm gonna build up a camping trip here in the near future so that way I can go use this, because I think it's so sweet and I'd love to check it out in the rain. I was thinking about hitting it with a hose, but I'm like, I'm not gonna get the hose in the right angle where it's gonna actually replicate rain. Like, it's either gonna be shooting right into the tent, blah, blah, blah. So I'm excited to check this out in blaring sun, which I've kind of done today, and it already does make a difference, but also in the rain. I wanna see how it holds up, and I'll get back to you on that. But if you guys enjoyed this install and ASG Off-Road, make sure you go check out their website, leave this video a thumbs up, comments down below what you think, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Keep elevating, my friends. Adios.